I'm Tiffany and this is Towering TBR. Today I'm going to be doing the BookTube Newbie Tag, which asks questions basically why you started a BookTube channel. So the first one is, why did you start this channel? I've been a viewer on BookTube for about 5 or 6 years now, and I decided I wanted to take a more active role in the bookish community. I wanted to make videos about books I loved and books I didn't love, and so I've decided to start a channel. Second question is, what are some fun, unique things you can bring to BookTube? So I notice a lot of BookTube reads mostly front list, and I do read some front list, but for the most part I read a lot of backlist titles. So there will be some titles that, I highlight that maybe don't get as much love as other books on BookTube. I also primarily listen to audiobooks as my way of getting the book in my head. And I also like a lot of humor, which I feel like is underrepresented on BookTube. The third question is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? Well, I am most excited to connect to other readers and to discuss books. I'm hoping to have a really active role in replying to comments and just facilitating conversations about what I read. The fourth question, why do you love reading? I'm just a fan of stories and I love to learn. So when I'm in the mood to learn, I usually pick up nonfiction or maybe historical fiction. And when I'm in the mood to escape, which is often now, I love to pick up sci-fi and fantasy books and just fall into these other worlds where my problems don't exist and can focus on a wholly different problem. The fifth question is, what book or series got you into reading? So I would say I've always been a reader. I loved school growing up. I loved to read. But after I left college, I admit I only read like a few books a year, and it was in 2018 when I joined a book club and we read The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne, and I loved that book. I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing, and that's actually, I think, how I really became part of BookTube, as I started looking up other people who had reviewed that book, and just, I wanted to talk about it, and I found BookTube, and it's just been a way of life now. What questions would you like to ask your favorite booktubers? I'd probably like to ask, how early on in reading a book do you know it's going to be 5 stars? And if there are any mood readers, how easy or difficult is it to stick to a TBR? I feel like sometimes I set TBRs and then my mood changes and I go in a wildly different direction. And lastly, I'd probably ask to collaborate with them. They're my favorites, so I would probably really enjoy working with them. Number 7, what challenges do you think starting your BookTube channel you might face? I think the biggest challenge for me is going to be posting consistently. I have multiple chronic illnesses that cause pain or fatigue, and I want to post, but I may not feel up to it. But I follow a number of chronically ill booktubers, and I don't mind their inconsistency, so I'm hoping that you won't either. The 8th question is, when did you start reading? Probably at 4 or 5, but yeah, I would say I started voraciously consuming books in 2016. made it a challenge that year to read 52 books in a year, and I made it. And I've only gone up since. Where do you like to read? I usually read in my library, in this chair specifically. This is where my books are, and this is where my chair is, so this is where I'm most comfortable reading. What kinds of books do you like to read? I really like a ton of different types of books. Like I said earlier, when I want to escape, I usually choose sci-fi or fantasy. And when I want to learn, I usually pick up nonfiction or historical fiction. But I also read comics and mangas and romance and mysteries and pretty much everything except horror. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, so don't read horror. But pretty much everything else I'll at least try. And the last question is, what does your book collection look like? In a word, it's expansive. I have 700 books in my library, and a lot of them are unread. I like collecting books, and I have a great library that has sales, and I can pick them up pretty cheap. So yeah, I think in the future I'll do a library tour and you can see the specific ones I have. But yeah, I have so many. That was all the questions. If you're new, link your channel down below and I will check you out. Also, tell me what kinds of books you like to read and maybe your favorite. Thanks. Bye.